So the rotors are under spec and need to be replaced. They're too thin to be turned again. Most shops will check that for you. My pads were all cracked up and overheating and looked pretty bad. So we're going to replace the brakes. To get to this point here, check out this video. The first half of that video will get you to this point. And so first thing we're going to do, we're going to check the cylinder, see how much we've got. I just got through taking a little bit of the brake fluid out of that. What I've done is I've hooked up a spray top to a tube, and then I just pump it into an old canister. And so you want to drain your fluid a little bit, because what's going to happen is you've got the caliper here. This is the cylinder. When you pump the brake fluid in through here, it fills up the cylinder, which pushes the pad up against the rotor. So when we push this cylinder back in to accept the new thicker brake pads, haven't been worn down yet, you're going to be pushing that fluid back in the reservoir. So if you don't take it out of the reservoir first, it'll just spill over. Okay, once the cylinder's flat against there, we can put the new pads in. This one in first. There's no room for those spacers in my case. Line up those notches into the caliper so the pad doesn't move. Make sure that your two notches here are on the bottom and the ones with the single on top, so it can pivot into place. I'll set that aside for a second. Nice thin coat of high heat grease on there, so the brakes slide nice. Inspect your caliper bolts. The ones that hold the caliper on, right here, that go in here and here, holding the caliper on. The brake shops have a tendency to strip them out because they're using pneumatic tools. If they are stripped out, go to your favorite parts store or hardware store and find you some new ones. These happen to be 8mm 1.25 thread. Get our new rotor. The ones on this Jeep are cast iron. There's two different ones that they could potentially try to sell you for this model. One is cast like this, and one is composite. How do you know which one you need? Well, if you have 1.5 inch long studs, you're going to be the cast. And if they're the 1 1/8, the smaller ones, it's going to be the composite. Now if they give you the wrong ones, the composite ones will end up riding on your brake shroud before the wheel ever gets tight, and that's not a good thing. You might want to go ahead and run some brake cleaner on your new rotor. Make sure this rotor is nice and clean. And last. Make sure all the debris are off of there. As you oil them, because they come from China and they don't want them to rust on the boat on the way over. Alright, check your clearances on the shroud and make sure that they gave you the cast or whichever one you ended up needing. I'm going to take our new bolts that still have some thread on them. Going to lube the shaft here that rides inside the caliper. At the bottom rest there. Slide the top in. Make sure that the bottom notches on your pad are riding where they're supposed to be. We'll take the lubed bolt, put it in the top first, just because it's handy. Start them by hand. It's not to strip out the new ones. Okay, and it should be a 13 millimeter. Alrighty, put the tire back on. Just get this wheel on, and we'll do the other side the same way. You always want to do both sides at the same time. Thanks for watching.